Here at Monza, it is the opening weekend of the season in McLaren Trophy Europe, and race 2 is about to get underway. Yesterday was a lively race, and McLaren very content indeed to celebrate the biggest grid that we've had in the history of McLaren Trophy Europe, with some familiar faces returning, some different driver combinations, and lots of new people coming to the grid as well. David Addison and Tommy Erdos trackside. A really good race yesterday, but we had lots to talk about, Tommy, and kept you busy judicially last night as well.
I did indeed, but we knew that was coming, so it's no surprise there. But what a great race we had. Yeah. Great weather here in Monza, and we have the same again for race 2, so really looking forward to this one.
Track temperature up to 52 degrees, going to be hot in the cars as well. The majority of the cars are double driver entries. Charlie Martin goes solo. David Aspin, who missed yesterday's race, and I think as we've drawn from today as well, was another soloist on the entry. Yesterday, 1 or 2 battles got a little bit heated, but we look forward to another really interesting race based on the time set in qualifying this morning. We'll come to the grid shortly. Let's get down to the grid, though, first of all, with Gregor Yates, our first driver to talk to. Bryn Lucas is down there with him.
Well, Gregor, it was a tricky qualifying for you yesterday, but you came through with a decent result, and you start at the top of the pile today.
Yeah, Ricardo made a really decent, if not perfect, qualifying, so we have P1, and now we just keep trying to hold it.
When you look hench, I know you've got your cool vest on underneath at the moment, but it's very, very hot on track. The conditions are tricky to keep those tyres in the window.
Yeah, the tyres and also for the brakes, so it's hard. Also from physical side, that's why I'm having the cooling vest to prepare for the second stint. But yeah, the conditions are tricky, but we had yesterday race 1, so we know how to be better with it.
You can avoid traffic into turn 1. That's the most important thing. Good luck.
Yeah, thank you.
Gregor Yates' car starting on pole position, but it will be Riccardo Ianiello who is the man that will do the first stint. And Ianiello yesterday was a very, very spirited racer. Very
racy, wasn't he, yesterday? Some really good moves from Ianiello, so looking forward to seeing him race from the front row there. Alexandro Heppert next to him, only actually less than a tenth on the front row there, second place. Showing his class again. Heppert, obviously a previous champion of the series, but yeah, looking forward to that drag into the first corner between those two cars.
We have a pit stop window, again, as befits a good double driver category. It's between 18 and 28 minutes of the race, and the mandatory stop 90 seconds, unless, Tommy, you had a good result yesterday, yeah?
That's right. So with a good result yesterday means you have some success penalty, and the cars that will be taking that on board today, unfortunately, it will be car 28, obviously the winner yesterday, with 7 seconds added, and then car 23 with 5 seconds, and 81 with 3 seconds added to it. So that's for the Pro class. The Pro-Am class, we have car 88, which is actually on the front row there, with Heppert starting on this race. They will take 7 seconds in the pit lane added. Car 12, 5 seconds, and car 80, 3 seconds. And with the M class, car 63 gets 7 seconds added, and 96, 5 seconds.
Yeah, the AM winners yesterday being newcomers to McLaren Racing, Cedric Lima and Julien Piguet. Cedric Lima has been a Lamborghini Super Trofeo racer for many, many seasons, and also a champion in that. Let's get back down to the grid. Next, let's hear from Ron Tranker.
Just every time I look at somebody, they appear to be more drippy, and you've got the long hair to go with it, Ron. You're in a very good position, P4. Pro-Am, we know you had a great result yesterday as well.
Yeah, we were able to get finished P3 in Pro-Am, starting from the back of the grid. Now that we're up front, I'm hoping to do a little bit better.
Now, you're obviously from across the pond over in the States. What's it like to come to Monza to race at the Temple of Speed? There's such an iconic circuit here in Europe.
I love it here. This will be the 3rd year I'm racing Trophy here, and best results we've had so far.
You're part of the furniture with the McLaren Trophy. It's great to have you back.
Thank you.
And Ron Tranker sharing with John Lancaster, the car starting 4th on the grid. John Lancaster will be the start driver today. This is where, if you like, the pros can go toe-to-toe and show off just how good they are. As I say, it's a really interesting entry this year with a number of drivers and teams new to McLaren Trophy Europe. Giorgio Sana, McLaren's motorsport boss, of course, ex of Lamborghini. Perhaps no surprise, therefore, that a few of his older customers have been tempted to come and join him on this grid.
It's really good for McLaren that they chose to do that. So we have a really expanded grid with 20+ cars, which is great. Looks good on the pitch straight here in Monza, and yeah, some great racing again yesterday. So some of the young guys, but also John Lancaster there, one of the old names, but they're doing very well.
Exactly right. Let's go to the grid. Will Aspin, a quick Brit. We'll hear from him.
Well, we're fighting the national anthem here, but yesterday you were fighting through the pack, weren't you? It was a good start for qualifying and you fell all the way back.
Yeah, obviously an unfortunate incident at turn 1 where we just got pushed a bit wide. So we had to, it was just in a recovery mode, and we managed to salvage a lot of places up and finish 5th, which was amazing. And when Harry got in the car, he brought it home in 5th and we finished the race. And honestly, it's good points for the championship. It's a long run all the way there. So hopefully we can do the same again today and move up the grid is what we want. And yeah, and of course we wouldn't be here without any of our sponsors. So thank you to Plaid and yeah.
Give us an idea of what it's like to drive these little 3-litre beasts around Monza.
Fast, really fast. I mean, it's a great experience. One, to be at Monza is really cool. I was born in Italy, so it's even more special. So to win here would be really, really special. That's my want. That's the thing I want out of today's race. But you know, take it lap by lap and then just wait and see. But driving these cars around here, really cool, really special. And to drive a McLaren around Monza is just a kind of a pinch yourself moment. So.
British flag on your waistband, but a nice passport that gets you everywhere. Good luck today.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, Will Aspin, born in Florence. His father was in the entry list, but David not feeling all that well. Possibly the heat, dehydration maybe, that's affected him. But David has withdrawn at least from this weekend, but concentrating on watching Will, who got roughed up a little bit early in yesterday's race, that car. They suffered dramas early on.
Yeah, it is. Unfortunate, really, in that turn 1 incident where he got pushed wide. And as best as we did to look at evidence from cameras, there were a couple of cameras that weren't quite working on some of the other cars, so we couldn't see any evidence to really penalise anybody.
Yeah, indeed. Paddock Motorsport operating cars here. The man behind the team, Martin Plowman.
Used to seeing your British GT in the car. You're outside the car here. You're running a few cars at the McLaren Trophy. It's good to see you and good to be at Monza.
Yeah, I get a lot more nervous being outside of the car watching than I do when I'm in the car. But yeah, it's been a great weekend so far. We've got 3 really strong lineups. The field is so strong this year. We had a fantastic start to the year with P2 with Callum and Luca. And today we've got young Matthew in the car who's really pushing on ahead. So we'll see what he can do today.
I know you still race, you normally have your race suit on, Martin, but what's it like to be at these places and not being in the car? Frustrating, maybe stressy watching the cars, but how much do you wish you were in the car?
Honestly, today with the heat, I'm glad I'm not in the car. But I'm like 7 espressos down on 3 hours sleep, so feeling a bit buzzed today.
Bring it on. Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, the travails of being a team owner. Martin Plowman, of course, regular racer in a McLaren in British GT. Paddock looking after the car of Callum Davis and Luca Magnussen, that yesterday went well, finishing 2nd place, but today is 16th on the grid, a long way back, which is a bit of a surprise.
We were all surprised about the pace in qualifying, but to be fair, it was a difficult session this morning with the accident in the, I think it was in GT3, before our session, so we cut down the practice time before quali, and then quali got shortened as well because there was a red flag in it. So whether they just couldn't put a lap together, maybe that was the case, because for sure they have more pace than that.
Indeed, it's going to be a car to watch. Yeah, it's a very odd morning. The timetable at a GT World Challenge event allows what's called a hardship lap. So if you've had a problem on the Saturday, you're given a lap on the Sunday morning just to make sure that the car is okay. And it was a GT4 car on its hardship lap that went off and did significant barrier damage, so everything was delayed. The free practice session that normally, it's like a warm-up, isn't it, that goes before McLaren Trophy qualifying had to be axed, and then qualifying ended up being shortened because of a red flag. So yeah, it's a frustrating start to the morning all round. It's left the timetable in a bit of a state of flux, but now at least they can all concentrate on and we need to tick this one off the list of admin, 45-minute race. I thought they were normally 50.
And you were right. They are normally 50-minute races, but being that we are at Monza, the percentage of full throttle here is very high, meaning you use more fuel. So just to be on the safe side and make sure that everybody finishes the races, we just took 5 minutes out of it.
Okay, perfect. Right, tick that one off my list. Next thing for you to explain to me, push to pass, flashing lights.
Yes. All the gizmos. We have, obviously, push to pass is a really nice feature where the drivers have a button on the steering wheel and it gives them immediately 35 horsepower. Okay. What a nice thing to have. But for the viewers watching it, the way you know that if the driver is using it, you look at what looks like daytime running lights have just come on now actually on the grid. When they're flashing, it means they are using push to pass. They have 300 seconds of push to pass availability. Obviously, if they're too greedy at the start of the race, then their second driver will have none. Now, incidentally, Lorenzo Montero, the winner yesterday, came back to pits and gave the car to his second driver with 200 seconds left, which was very impressive. So lots of it still left in it. So it's a lot of strategy there with the push to pass.
And the other thing is this year it's a rolling start. So like other GT championships, a rolling start brought in for this season. Cars now released, they make their way down towards the first chicane, and it is going to be then Riccardo Agnello versus Alejandro Gepert for the front row. For Target Racing and Alfab, it is Agnello going toe-to-toe with Gepert. Romain Agnello then on pole position, and Alejandro Gepert lining up second. Third on the grid is James Higgins. John Lancaster lines up alongside, ahead of Michael O'Brien and Harry Burgoyne. Then you've got Matt Higgins, son of rally star David. Patrick Schober starting 8th on the grid, ahead of the redoubtable Ollie Webb, and yesterday the winner Julien Piguet from Lucas Valcra. And then next on the grid is Maximilian Tarillian. Behind that, Christian Brooks and Alessio De Leda, who we've seen in GT World in the past. Dimitris Papanastasio back in racing, the Greek driver alongside Luca Magnussen with a lot of work to do. Vincenzo Scarpetta is alongside Charlie Martin, 17th and 18th on the grid. Then Mal Ryan a long way back, but one to watch, former Fiesta Junior champion, and Hugo Back for Greystone GT is going to round out the grid with Will Martin. That's another car out of position. So there's quite a lot to look for in this race, not only in the first few laps, but I suspect all the way through, especially given that you've got two drivers in the majority of cars, and therefore cars potentially at different pace.
Yes, absolutely. So we have a mix of drivers now with Silvers against M's, but also again the qualifying session this morning was a little bit disrupted by the delays of the track, and that means that some drivers are out of position. So it just enhances the show, I guess. You're going to see more racing in the midfield and people getting through, which is always fun.
So as the cars make their way now down towards the Ascari chicane, they'll get themselves in formation ready for the rolling start shortly. Just I mentioned Michael O'Brien when I was going through the grid. Now that car, there it is in fact with the Army colours on the front of it, that was a retirement on the last lap of yesterday's race, and that rather surprised us.
Yeah, so no, really unfortunate for the number one car. In fact, today they had another issue coming into the qualifying session, or the free practice, and it was lucky for them that actually that got delayed, because they were able to sort the problem. So whatever happened yesterday, I don't know if there was the same sort of gremlin that was playing, but everything is sorted now. The car's on the grid and running full speed. His qualifying position there, I think he was on a faster lap when the session got stopped. So I think we would have seen Michael a little bit further up. But the good news is the car is running on full pace, and hopefully we'll see Michael coming through.
Well, it's going to be an interesting battle for the race lead, that is for sure, because there you've got the pole car of Riccardo Agnello. You've got alongside him Alejandro Gepert, former champion, and then James Higgins, who's been racing in single-seaters in the UK before. John Lancaster for the race lead before the end of lap one is a real possibility. John, who's coached many of the people on this grid, very, very experienced driver, European Le Mans Series champion, and very much a man to watch, very experienced in McLaren terms. Right, we've got 45 minutes on the clock. It is race 2 of McLaren Trophy Europe for 2026. The lights on the gantry are red. They will blink green any second to get us racing here at Monza. And a great getaway from those on about the 4th row of the grid there, because that was Patrick Schober looking to make up ground in the white and orange car as they dive down towards turn 1. Alejandro Gepert it is who takes the lead from Riccardo Agnello. Lancaster up on the outside line as well, and he's going to be able to get second, I think, as they all breathe in, squeeze their way right and then left. It's a real pinch point this, but so far so good. They've all seemingly made it through safely. Bit of dust is kicked up on exit into the Curva Grande for the first time, but Alejandro Gepert from the outside of the grid has managed to get the race lead, and that was a good move. Fantastic move,
Gepert, showing all his experience there. Great start for Gepert, and by the way, everyone really. Much better formation, I have to say, than yesterday in terms of grid formation, but everybody got through the first couple of corners, looks like it.
So Alejandro Gepert then in the lead of the race as the cars work their way up through the first of the two Lesmo bends. You've got the SMC cars squabbling there further back. And contact avoided as the cars now work their way through for the first time. So it is Gepert, the leader. James Higgins is second. Agnello down to third. John Lancaster is fourth. Michael O'Brien on his toes fifth. Patrick Schober sixth. He's gained a couple of spaces. Harry Burgoyne, though, has gone backwards, hasn't he? The Scottish driver has lost 6 places.
Yeah, that's not a good start for that. But watch out for Matthew Higgins there, who's shown a lot of pace over the weekend, and he's he's P8 at the moment. He's got a lot of pace on him. I'd say he would be moving his way up fairly soon. But great to see everybody got through the first few corners there without any major contact.
Hugo Back from the back of the grid. 5 places gained. Luca Magnussen 3 places gained as their Schober comes up to have a go at Michael O'Brien. This is for 5th place coming into the Parabolica, but the race leader Alejandro Gapet getting away, but Gapet, although I say he's a former champion, he's not fighting for outright wins necessarily. He's in Pro-Am these days with Eric Behrens. Behrens himself is quick and he's experienced. The leaders go through, but Gapet now trying to build the gap as best he can, bearing in mind that car serves an extra 7 seconds in the pits because of a class win yesterday.
That's it. So they were the winners yesterday for Pro-Am, so Gapet's very conscious of that, and he's in a perfect position to push on. Someone's just gone straight there, turn 1. Who was that, David?
Trying to see colour of car. Let's work it out. Oh, 2 have gone, in fact, up the escape road, so we'll see how that shuffles the order in a moment. Got to thread your way through the polystyrene markers there. It's not a flat out run through the escape road. As there, look, Schober has a look to the inside to get past Michael O'Brien. Couldn't do it as the cars now work their way again through the second of the chicanes. Gapet trying to build that gap all the time, though, for the race lead. Harry Burgoyne's first lap, losing all those places. I was wondering whether it was a problem rather than him just being put off his stride, because Harry, we know, is a pretty aggressive racer normally, gaining places, not losing them, as though, you know, if the car had a problem, to lose 6 places, that's not down, it doesn't feel like, just to the driver.
No, absolutely. It's like him to do that, and now he's got Tyrillian in front of him. Yeah, his first challenge to get through the number 7 car. We're showing good pace over the weekend as well in testing.
Yeah, here they come then down through the Ascari chicane. 45-minute race then, and as Tommy has explained, that's because of the fast nature of Monza. Don't want the cars to be marginal on fuel, so just a slightly shorter race than the rest of the season will offer up, just to make sure the cars get through without drama. So into the Parabolica comes Gapet. In second place is James Higgins, who in fairness is keeping Gapet in sight, isn't he? Although Alejandro is the more experienced in McLaren terms, James Higgins going after him. And we've got a couple of 10-second penalties being offered up. One of them is to Julien Piguet, the other is to Alessio De Leda, and that is for running outside of their grid boxes. So as an out of position start, if you like, not a jump start, but being slightly outside. The race directors these days always want the cars to be in 2 absolutely uniform lines on the run up to the rolling start.
I did notice at the start there a couple of cars just not quite lined up properly, and they were pulled up on that after yesterday. In fact, there was a driver's briefing this morning exactly on that point to make sure that they are formed properly, and if not, penalties will be given, so they have been warned.
Yeah, indeed so. Trevor Williams, who is the race director, gives them fair warning, as there you can see the number 7 car in the hands of Maximilian Tyrillian, just about defending from SMC. The 2 cars from the SMC team behind, one of which is in the hands of Harry Burgoyne, trying to rebuild his race. Let's have a look at the start and try and see where the cars are slightly outside the line. Yeah, mid-grid, isn't it?
Yeah, mid-grid there, that's it, and then he moves into the middle there, so he wasn't lined up properly.
Yeah, Piguet in the red and white car was actually the more obvious of those that was outside the grid lines, but then he didn't make a very good start in that red and white car and sort of tumbled down the order anyway.
Look at that, 4 abreast into turn 1. That is just a recipe for disaster, and yeah, everyone made through it without any contact. Really, really well done to everyone.
Absolutely, there's been some fine driving in McLaren Trophy Europe. Now, it is still Alejandro Gapet, your race leader, but he's not getting away, is he? Fair play here to James Higgins in second place. James, who came from Ginetta Juniors up to British F4, making this career switch now into a GT-style car, but he is keeping the race leader honest, keeping him in sight.
Yeah, very impressive pace there, so pretty much matching Gapet's pace within a tenth or so. And that's not what Gapet wants. He wants to extend that lead to try and make up for that plus 7 seconds that he was going to have to be added when Eric Behrens gets in the car.
So the car's down now into the chicane. And side by side, effort being made there. That is Alessio De Leda trying to go around the outside. There is contact made against Luca Magnussen. Magnussen keeps the place. De Leda will lose another spot, but they accelerate on now towards the Curva Grande.
Yeah, unfortunate that. It's always a pinch point, that turn 1, and you know, it takes 2 of them to negotiate it through. It's ever slight as bit of contact, really, but that's all it takes to have an incident. And there into the second Variante there, another pinch point there. 2 cars had to take onto the escape road, so I'm not sure. Didn't catch the car number on that, coming out of Variante 2.
So the field battles on. There you've got Julien Piquet in the red and white car dropping back, the AM winner of yesterday. Meanwhile, Repet, the race leader, only by 0.7 of a second. Cars again through the Ascari chicane. As they do so, you've got Gapet from Higgins from Ianiello, and they're a little bit further back aboard. Number 12 is Dimitris Papanastasiou, back racing, having years ago been racing in single-seaters in the UK, but went back to Greece, went karting for a bit of fun and thought, you know what, I enjoy my racing, and now that he's got the funds to do it, he's come back into GT racing. Replay here of this incident between De Leder and Magnussen. So De Leder slightly ahead on the inside line, tries to get the apex for the corner, but I mean, Magnussen was halfway up the curb. He couldn't disappear, could he?
No, I mean, we'll have to look at it at all angles there. Magnussen was behind, but I think De Leder needed to know that he was on his inside as well, maybe giving a bit more room to negotiate that part of the chicane. So we'll no doubt we'll have a look at that and at close quarters in the judicial later. Yeah,
I should point out Tommy is also the driving standards advisor, so his experience is brought into play when there are incidents like that. And there's another incident that's going to be looked at between Ollie Webb, I notice, and Matt Higgins. They're 7th and 8th, so the paperwork on your desk is stacking up ready for you for the end of this race, which is about 36 minutes or so away. Gapet, just to go back to the race leader for a moment, he is not getting away, is he? Fair play. James Higgins is staying within about 0.7 of a second.
Yeah, it's gone up to 8/10 now, but it's 6/7. That's right, 7/10. So it's very, very close. And again, not really what Gapet wants, but he's doing his best. It shows that Higgins got a lot of pace as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And somebody that's new to GT cars, whereas, as we keep saying, Gapet is a previous champion. There, the lights are flashing. That's not, I don't think, the push to pass, is it? That's the get out of my way.
Get out of my way.
Yeah,
that's it. Yeah.
Try to distract the man ahead. So 1-1-1. Bit of a twitch as the car comes into the Parabolica. Edgar Pierre was the driver that started yesterday and got roughed up by Alessandro Fabi, put him into the gravel at turn 1. So the result that they got out of yesterday's race doesn't really illustrate the true pace of that car. 15th yesterday, but James Higgins doing a very good opening stint here as the leaders go by. The gap cracked up a little bit more that time, and if anything now, Riccardo Ianiello coming back at them. I'm still a bit surprised John Lancaster is dropping away in 4th place, though.
Yeah, so showing obviously good pace in qualifying, but the race pace not quite there. There's numbers 50 and 44 again. That's Ollie Webb and Matt Higgins there. Really good racing going on between those two.
Yeah, and Higgins has got back ahead of Webb. Ollie tried to retake the place coming down into the chicane, but it's going to be Matt Higgins ahead. His father David, one of the two great rallying Higgins. David, 10 times American rally champion. Mark Higgins, of course, his uncle, very successful rally champion, rally cross champion, and stunt driver in Bond movies, amongst other things these days. Having said about Ianiello in 3rd place not being a factor, he's now done the absolute best first sector. He is closing now, isn't he, for 2nd place on James Higgins here?
Yeah, Ianiello yesterday as well, his pace just seemed to improve the further the race went on. And, and got very racy at the end there, so very, very good performance from him yesterday, and he's, again, right at the front there on the podium position at this stage.
Down they come into the Ascari chicane. There you've got 2nd and 3rd, riding the curve, James Higgins, but now he knows he's got to. He's got to try and shave every millimetre of the circuit off to try and get away from Riccardo Ianiello. In 4th place, John Lancaster. Lancaster's battle really is with Gapet because they're in the same class, whereas the two that are now side by side and indeed change order are in the same class as one another. Ianiello then ahead of Higgins. That was a nice move, even done before the Parabolica.
Yes, very good. Well timed there, coming out of Ascari, really with good exit, and really making the move just before coming into Parabolica, and hasn't compromised his exit either. So I don't think that Higgins is close enough to retake that position now.
Right. So they go by with now 6 laps in the book. Gapet is 11/10 up on Ianiello, but I think that gap's going to come down given the way that Riccardo is going. Higgins down to 3rd, Lancaster 4th, Michael O'Brien is 5th, Patrick Schober is in 6th place. And then you've got Matt Higgins and Harry Burgoyne up into 8th. Ollie Webb's lost a couple of places on that lap. Harry Burgoyne the 2nd, Harry Burgoyne Jr., his family from oval racing. The Burgoynes hugely successful in saloon stock car racing. And now Chris and Stephen very good in Formula 2 stock car racing. The other half of the family, the Lapkas, were good in stock rods, non-contact 1400cc hot rod style racing, non-contact cars. But Harry is the one that's gone circuit racing. He's broken the tradition. I wonder if they still speak to him at family functions. There you've got 33 closing up under braking into the chicane. That being Hugo Back, who's made a bit of progress from the rear of the grid on this now the 7th lap of the race. Back again, having a look to the inside of Alessio De Leda, but not able to go through. Drivers having to be careful not only of when they use the boost, but where as well, haven't they, around this circuit?
Absolutely. It's when you say they have 300 seconds of boost, it seems like a lot, but on a circuit with so many straights and a lot of flat-out areas, you can't, you can be greedy and run out at the end for sure. So you have to use it with strategy in mind, and again, have some left for your teammate when he gets in the car.
Yeah, you want to keep some, don't you, for the end of the race, just in case there's a safety car in that second stint towards the end of the race. Race leaders then, again, down towards the Parabolica. Also got to know when your opposition is using the boost, and what you don't want necessarily only to use it to pass. You can use it to try to pull away if possible, and that's what Gepet's trying to do now. He's 1.7 seconds ahead of Ianiello. Is this Gepet sort of throwing caution to the wind before he has to serve the pit stop? You'd also anticipate, would you not, that Gepet will pit later to maximise his time behind the wheel before he puts Eric Berens into the car.
Yeah, so this is where it's interesting really with the boost push to pass button, because the last lap Ianiello was half a second faster than Gepet and looked like he was closing on him, and now the other way around, Gepet used the push to pass and was able to open that gap again to Ianiello. So they're kind of ping-ponging each other at the moment, yeah, so the thing is Gepet cannot be too greedy on that button, but in the same time he needs to build up the gap, so he's got a tough task ahead of him there.
Yeah, we call it push to pass, but it's sort of push for power in a sense, isn't it? You can use it to catch or pull away from. There you've got the car of Alessio De Leda coming down through the Orangeria chicane. De Leda currently in 14th place. Interesting, actually, that a lot of people seem to do the work early on. Now they've all kind of got into a bit of a line, and further overtakes are not that easy. Luca Magnussen, for example, 3 places gained early on, and he's got a bit stuck in the queue. Hugo Back also gained ground early, and he's got a bit stuck in the queue.
Yeah, I wonder what especially with Luca Magnussen, his pace was certainly faster yesterday than today, both in qualifying and now in the race. We predicted him to actually be making up places this early on in the race, but he hasn't been able to do that this far.
That's right. So as the cars again work their way down through the Ascari chicane, the extra 35 horsepower that boost gives you, the push for power, coming into play. The lead car, remember, with an extra 7 seconds to serve in the pit lane. Ianiello in second place, only 3. So the lead ought to switch around, as there Hugo Back gets up the inside of De Leda, who tries to close the door. Contact is made, and Alessio De Leda does lose the place. Hugo Back says, I'm coming through anyway, you sort yourself out, mate. And he's gained the ground as they come up towards the line. So Hugo Back now will break the timing beam, having taken that place away. Puts him 14th, but here comes De Leda back on the outside line, down towards the first chicane. De Leda will have his nose just in front, but the better line is claimed by Hugo Back, and he retakes the place. Good racing.
Very good racing there, yeah. So both gave each other enough room, but very close racing. Nice to see 33 car, having a better race. Yesterday was really not a good day for them.
At the rear of the pack, Charlie Martin trying to get closer to Julien Piguet there in the red-backed car, leader of the AM class. Drivers, meanwhile, getting themselves ready. That's Callum Davis, who will take over from Luca Magnussen, former Ginetta racer, as the cars now again bounce their way through that second chicane. Some of the curbs here quite low, and you can use them well. Some of the curbs quite high, and they certainly put a big impact through the car, don't they? So you've got Gepet, the race leader, Ianiello in second, James Higgins is third. That is the leader, Alejandro Gepet. So the Spanish driver accelerates now down towards the Parabolica. It almost looks like James Higgins is coming back at Ianiello for second place, doesn't it? He'd lost the place, but now getting closer, gets a toe on the run down to the Parabolica, pulls to the outside. He's not going to go around the outside, but if he can get the switch back and get the tighter line coming off the Parabolica, then that might serve him well. Pit window not yet open, so they still have to keep on fighting, as just staying ahead is Riccardo Ianiello as they come up towards the line. Ianiello, as we said yesterday, has done quite a bit of racing in Italian GT. He's new to McLaren Trophy, but he does know the circuit. He's raced in Lamborghini Super Trofeo. He was the Endurance AM champion in Italian GT 3 years ago. And he's fending off James Higgins.
That's a really good, clean battle there between the two, and very close quarters there, the two cars. But yeah, it's a good show by both of them at this stage.
It is, but now they're squabbling again for second place. That's really played into the hands of Capet, hasn't it? Because he's got 3 seconds in hand, and that's 5.5 in hand over his class rival, John Lancaster. So James Higgins coming back at Aianiello as they drop down into the Rogier chicane. Leading Capet goes through. In the background is Michael O'Brien getting a little bit nearer maybe to John Lancaster. Their lap times on the previous lap, Lancaster was quicker by 0.02 of a second, so they're still pretty evenly matched. Behind O'Brien, the orange and white car there, Patrick Schober, who will give way to the very feisty Alessandro Fabi. And then you've got Matt Higgins in the red car in 7th place. Harry Burgoyne is 8th in the first of the SMC cars in the Gulf livery. There, just going through the shot. But all of this, of course, can well shuffle on the pit stops. Different drivers getting into the cars and these extra compensation times to serve the so-called success penalties for your results in the earlier race of the weekend.
Yeah, Higgins now looking again very close to Ianiello, coming into Parabolica. If he plays that well through Parabolica, he will have a good run, potentially into turn 1.
So there, Michael O'Brien. You still get the feeling not everything is well with that car. As you say, an issue yesterday, an issue in the qualifying session this morning, and Greystone, one of the top teams in the championship. But Michael, with respect to the others, we know he's better than only being in 5th place. Very good in modern and historic race cars is Michael O'Brien. From a good racing family, as now Hugo Back tries to go around the outside of Christian Brooks, who looked good yesterday, Christian, but he's another one that's not really made the progress, and he's going to be one of the first to pit. Lucas Valcra is in, and now into the pit lane as well comes Christian Brooks. Lucas Valcra, who's just come into the pit lane, we haven't actually mentioned, was yesterday's winner, because the car that he and Lorenzo Montero are driving has been another rather anonymous one in this race.
Yes, and quite a few cars coming in the pits now. It's going to be a busy pit lane. 99, there's a driver change taking place just there.
That's Christian Brooks to give way now to Lagim Ali, another ex-Lamborghini and GT3 racer. So the order shuffles, as you see there. Matt Higgins going ahead of Patrick Schober, but then Schober in the orange and white car comes back at him on the inside into the second of the Lesmo bands, retakes the place. Nicely done.
Yeah, very nice use of the, again, the push to pass there to regain the position. You can see the lights flashing there. And, but again, this all come to play towards the end of the race. If they use too much, there won't be any left.
That's right. Alessio De Leda there giving way to William Gosselin. So the tyre pressure is adjusted. There's not very much you can do here other than just make sure the car is released at the right time. Lagin Ali, the Danish driver, takes over from Christian Brooks. Christian, who's raced in European Le Mans Series events and the Le Mans Cup, mainly in LMP3 machinery, now coming to a GT-style car. Lagim Ali gets away, and Lorenzo Montero, I think the winner of yesterday's race, already on the move, as there, up towards the line now comes James Higgins. He's dropped back quite a chunk from Aianiello this time, has he not? That gap looks like it's really widened between the two. Nearly a second. Hugo Back gains another place, coming to the end of his stint, but he's just cleared Luca Magnussen, so that's all a bit strange. Luca's pace not there, seemingly, and now you've got cars on a race lap and others blending in after the pit stop. Suddenly life gets very busy, doesn't it?
A bit of a traffic jam there coming out of the pit lane, and so obviously we'll take a lap or so until these guys settle into their new position effectively after the pit stops. You mentioned there about not much time in the pits, only tyre pressures, but that's a very, very important part of the pit crew there, actually bleeding off some air, because these tyres get very hot, pressures rise, and it's very, very, very key that they actually are able to bleed the pressures down in the pit stops.
Patrick Schober there you saw skipping the chicane, just could not get in, could he, because Lagim Ali was alongside him. So Ali in the orange car has just rejoined after a stop, and he's sort of, with respect, getting in the way of a battle for position. Schober in the orange and white livery, the red car is that of Matt Higgins. They both now got past Ali. Harry Burgoyne is starting to go quicker at the end of his stint as well, as you see Michael O'Brien coming towards us. But yeah, big frustration for those drivers that have yet to pit, now having their battle slightly interrupted by those blending back into the pack.
That's it, but that's all part of GT racing. You have to get used to getting around these slower cars, effectively cars that are not quite up to temperature, and it's just part of the game. They have to get through it as fast as they can.
So that's your race leader, Alejandro Gepert. We're into the pit window, as you've seen, with some already cycling through the stops, and Alejandro Gepert will no doubt keep on pushing for as long as he can. Yellow flag being waved there because there's a car being pushed down the pit lane. So somebody is expired. Now, is that the Charlie Martin car that's expired coming into the pits? I can't see anybody else that's shown as having tripped the pit in beam yet. So there is the car with a problem. And now others do come in to serve their regulation stops. Looks like one of them might be Michael O'Brien's car. And that was the reason for the yellow. So Charlie Martin's car down the pit lane. But by the look of it, out of the race. If it's needing to be pushed to the team, then a problem. Right, race leaders are on to lap number 13. And now Alejandro Gepert proving just how good he is, getting away from the battles behind. He perhaps didn't disappear early on in the race, but now that's quite a gap.
It is, yes. And just incidentally, Charlie Martin there was a very late deal. Coming into this weekend, she wasn't even supposed to be racing the car, but Rafael wasn't available for whatever reason, and a late deal there to get her in the car. So we're glad she did. She's been contemplating joining the McLaren Trophy, and not a great day for her today. Earlier in the qualifying session, she had a spin at the Les Motu, but she made the grid. But unfortunately now, obviously, there seems to be some kind of a problem with the number 96 car,
which is run by the Target Racing team. Here is the Alfab entry of Alejandro Gepert. He powers his way now on again towards the Parabolica. So as the time ticks down within the pit window, this former champion, Alejandro Gepert, comes now down through the Parabolica, well clear of anybody else. He was the champion in 2024. Eric Behrens has been a GT champion as well in Sweden, and he will take over that car. Ricardo Ianiello in second place stays out for another lap. James Higgins likewise. So the longer these drivers stay on track, the more evidence there is that they are the quicker of the two in the driver combination. John Lancaster, another lap done by him. Then you've got Patrick Schober going through. So still the leading, what, 6, going on for another lap. An incident between Schober and Brooks is going to be looked at after the race as well. You're not on an early flight, Tommy, are you, I hope? Because you've got more to look at.
No, we booked our flight tomorrow because we knew we would be busy after these races, but that's a good problem to have. Absolutely. We have a fantastic grid full of competitive drivers, so we're happy to stay on and investigate what we need to.
So there you've got the battle between John Lancaster, who's just cleared James Higgins for third place. Higgins got a problem. Let's get to the pits and join Bryn.
This season so far, Michael, hasn't been your best friend, has it? How's it been out there so far today?
Yeah, it's been okay. A little bit better than yesterday. I think we were 4th, 3rd in class. So not horrendous, but not great either. Just really struggling. So, yeah, difficult, but hopefully we can just stay in contention and get a decent points haul.
Do you know what the issue is that you're struggling with? Because knowing is sometimes half the battle, isn't it? Well, it's more than half the battle.
Yeah, a few little things that keep reoccurring. Same issue as yesterday in stint 1 there. So, yeah, just need to keep working on that and try and improve that for next time. And then hopefully we'll be a little bit further up.
Go and rest up. Thanks, Michael.
Thank you.
Michael O'Brien's given the car over to Josh Mason now. Yeah, just before we went to the pit lane, we saw, and there's the evidence of it again, John Lancaster has got past James Higgins, which makes me think that either James has had a moment and or a problem, because he was running second early on. He's now dropped quite a long way back to 4th. Pit stop time, in comes Gepert. So this is the race leader in to give way to Eric Behrens, and they've got to serve the extra time in the pits after that class win yesterday. Big dive up the inside there, coming into the chicane, and the SMC car just runs out of road. So a mistake made. That was the car that Harry Burgoyne had started. He's given it to Will Aspin, but that's your leader. So Eric Behrens stands alongside as out of the car gets Alejandro Gepert, and Eric Behrens, taller frame, squeezes inside the cockpit, and as a good co-driver should, you don't walk away, you help the incoming driver with the belts. Alejandro Gepert then crouched down by the side of the car, and studious observation of the stopwatch from the mechanic at the front. So that puts, for the moment at least, Ianiello into the lead of the race, but of course everybody has to cycle through the stops. There is a big effort being made on the inside by Will Martin. Nicely done on the inside line there, clearing the traffic. Will Martin on a mission, but then he hooks the curb on the inside. Held onto that well.
Oh, I thought it was going to go off there, the way he hooked the curb on the apex there, but he just about, as you say, held it well on the exit. Very brave move there, at 1.3 abreast into the Lesmo 2. Good racing.
Absolutely right. So he's just got ahead of Olivieri in number 90 and William Gosselin, I think it is, in the other car in that battle pack, having taken over from Alessio Deleda. Down they are to turn 8 once more. Flavio Olivieri then dropping back, and a bit of work being done there on the front of the Luca Magnussen, now Callum Davis car. Didn't see where he picked up that damage, but maybe that's why he was struggling for pace.
There's an awful lot of race tape going on that right front there, so there's a bit of damage to the bodywork, and hopefully they'll get him out within the time, and he's not going to lose too much time in the pit lane.
We'd also seen Charlie Martin, a retirement from the race earlier. Let's hear why. She's with Brett.
Charlie, it's never nice to see a car stop, particularly on pit entrance like that. Can you tell us what happened out there?
Yeah, I had the car jump out of gear a couple of times into neutral, and within a couple of laps, so his team told me to box. So coming into Parabolica, came into the pit lane, dropped down, put the pit limiter on, and the engine cut out, wouldn't start again, and then I just lost all the electrics. So yeah, no idea really. I don't know if maybe there was something happening before that, because I was struggling to keep up with everybody. Got a pretty good start in the race initially, but yeah, we won't know until we look back really.
Frustrating end to a nice time in Monza, but thanks for chatting to us.
You're welcome, thank you.
Charlie Martin then out of the race, which is now with just under 17 minutes to go, and more coming into the pits, as they have to do before the window closes. So I think now, with those that are in the pit lane, everybody has either served or is serving the mandatory pit stop. Now we'll see what the order is going to be the other side of the pit window. So 1-1-1 that was started by James Higgins, given over to Edgar Pierre. Bit of liquid coming out of the back of that car, which is number 44. That was the car that Ollie Webb had started in, and he is now given to the American driver Bill Fenech. Right, for the race lead then, here comes Edgar Pierre. He's going to be back in contention, isn't he, as the car of Ianiello now, Gregor Yates rejoins, and Ron Trenker takes over from John Lancaster and heads out on track as well. That was a rather quirky way of approaching the chicane though, wasn't it? The car off there, way off the racetrack. You can just about see the roof line. And that is where? Pit straight?
I couldn't tell there. Was that the 50 car, the red? Ascari, that is.
So the yellow flag is at Ascari, and another one, in fact, at the Parabolica. So got incidents around the circuit. We'll try and unravel exactly who and where. And we're getting safety car by the look of it, because there are the boards and flags. So safety car deployed in McLaren Trophy Europe.
Yeah, David, did that look like the Coelho car, potentially, the number 50?
You are absolutely spot on. There you go. So that's down at the Ascari chicane. David Coelho is at the exit of Ascari. We understand there's another incident at the Parabolica, which is the last corner on the lap. We'll come to that in due course. There's the safety car making its way out onto the circuit. So the field then coming through next time around under safety car conditions. Yellow lights on the gantry to say to everybody that the safety car is on track, and that'll pick up the race leader, which of course is going to be a different order now that we've had the pit stops all cycle through. There is driver out of the car. That's at the Parabolica, I think, and it looks as though it's the Will Martin car that we've lost there. So big cheer from the crowd as he gets himself out of the car. But you can see how far through the Recticel barriers he's gone. So Will Martin out of the car and out of the race. But the good news is that he's walked away. But how he's got that far off the road, we'll try to get to the bottom of. But that was clearly, Tommy, quite a moment. High-speed corner.
Yeah, and never good to see that. And that looked the identical place where that GT car went on the practice before our qualifying session. Exactly the same position. So it makes you think that he may have had some kind of braking issue, maybe, and went straight. But I've got to say, those TAC Pro barriers really do a fantastic job. And because the speeds into Parabolica are absolutely, they're coming up to 250, 240, 250 clicks approaching. And yeah, when they go off straight because of brake issues or stuck throttle or anything like that, it's frightening to see the speed of the cars coming into the barriers. So a big shout out there to Monza, and using these TAC Pro barriers, they're doing their job.
So big frustration for Will Martin. There he is, he's okay, but out of the race. He'll be just composing his thoughts after that scary moment. Medical car there to take him to the med centre, which is what's going to happen in any incident, large or small. This is David Coelho taking over from Matt Higgins. That all self-induced, didn't it?
Yeah, pretty straightforward, that one, and unfortunate he's just got in the car, so obviously perhaps not quite warmed up or in tune with what's going on, and a little bit of a wily there. Too much power on the rear end, and off she goes.
Just caught the end, didn't we, of the Will Martin incident as well there. He clearly had an issue, but yeah, I mean, Will has been runner-up in Carrera Cup GB, third in the North American Championship. He's not somebody that would arrive at a corner at a ludicrous speed and not be able to turn the car. That does suggest some failure of some sort that's pitched him off the road. And your point about the recticel barriers is well made, because although Monza has these big gravel traps, of course, at some of the speeds, you're sort of skitting over the top of them, aren't you? They're not really slowing the progress of the car.
That's it, exactly that. And so these are, you can see now the several sort of different types of layers that you have between the tires and effectively the first barrier that the car comes in touch with. There's those red blocks in between, and all of that is just absorbs the impact, and especially high-speed impact. So I was doing a great job. Red flag there, obviously, as we thought it might do because of the seriousness of the out at Parabolica.
I think it's more the fact that it's going to take so long to move the car. There's the barrier damage, but the car is still in the recticel. What I would query is whether or not there's time to restart, because it's already the timetable has slipped. And with the fact that you've got to get the car from behind the barriers, and then you've got to rebuild the barriers itself, this is either going to be a long delay or it might be the end of the race. Everyone has served the pit stops. There is a race order. We've got 12 minutes to go, just under. Let's see what Trevor Williams, the race director, makes. But I think it's more the fact you've got to move. It would be such a... let me try this again in English. It would be such a long time under the safety car to move the car and repair the barriers. You'd run out of race.
Yeah, that's absolutely right, David. And we saw that earlier today, that a similar accident where they took some 30 minutes to actually get the track back onto to running order again. So I'm afraid this looks like one of those long delays. Yes.
So the cars come behind the safety car. We shall see whether it's to the grid or to the pit lane, really. I suspect the pit lane, and then a decision will be taken. It will be a safety car restart, potentially. Already, in fairness to the marshals and the track workers, they're already sorting out the barriers. They can do that because we're under controlled conditions. Permission given to them to go trackside, so the cars are coming out of the Parabolica. They'll make their way down towards the control stop. There is the car that's leading in AM, Cedric Lima, having taken over from Julien Piguet in its throwback to the cigarette sponsorship days of McLaren. There is the car at the Escaro chicane. That's easy to move. David Coelho, the Trinidad and Tobago driver. There aren't many racing drivers from that part of the world. Quite a few Caribbeans in rallying. Rally Barbados, always a big focal point of the area's season. But down the pit lane they have been brought, and that is what is left of Will Martin's car. And you can see it's not only had a big off, but it's also had a fire at the back. So scary moment all round for Will Martin. Glad to see that he was okay. And now you can see at least they've dragged the car out of there. They can put the barriers back, and we'll work out what happens next as far as this second McLaren Trophy Europe race is concerned. But for now, at least, the car's being brought down the pit lane. It was the car started by Hugo Back, wasn't it, from very last on the grid, which was a surprise in itself.
Yeah, unfortunately, that car has not had a good run yesterday, and yet again it's finished in this way. So I'm afraid to say a weekend to forget for that number 33 car, which isn't fair really to the crew and the team that runs it. Great competitors, Greystone GT, and very capable drivers. So obviously they were not in the right position on the grid, but now this happened. That's racing, I'm afraid. It's not nice when it happens, but they'll bounce back, and round two. Hopefully they'll have a much nicer story to tell.
The race will not restart. Confirmation on the timing screen. Session will not restart. So the time it's going to take to sort out the barriers means that we do have a result, and Gregor Yates and Riccardo Ianiello take the race win. The second driver has basically done, in some cases, 1 lap, maybe 2, behind the safety car to the pit lane. So real frustration if they were into the car late through the pit window. But to use your phrase, that's racing. Sometimes these things, I'm afraid, are forced upon us.
Unfortunately so, and I mean, we were looking at each other when it stopped, and the damage in the barriers, we knew really that this would be unlikely as a restart of the race. But I have to say, I'm happy for Ianiello as a result, because he showed such good pace yesterday.
Yeah.
Great sort of racing skills as well, and he did again today. So, yeah.
I'm really fascinated to see how he goes elsewhere. I know we touched on it, saying he's raced in Italian GT. You know, is that the pace we're going to see everywhere? Is he confident more with Monza than other circuits? Well, we'll find out, won't we?
Time will tell. Time will tell. He definitely knows this place very well, and he showed this weekend. So, but yeah, that's a good one to keep an eye on. But there's no doubt, if you can be fast in Monza, you'll be fast everywhere. Whether you have the same amount of result, the same level of result, I think he will. I think he'll be a season contender.
Well, there is Edgar Pierre already. The recovery or the barrier damage work is rattling on. But that was a long, long way off for Will Martin. And the best news of all is that he was seen walking away from the car. You will, of course, have access to his onboard, because they all have onboard cameras for judicial purposes.
100%, yes. We'll be able to look at that. Yeah. And that'll be, it won't be a very, very nice to watch. It'll be a high-speed impact there for sure. I'm hoping that the camera survives from the point of view of actually understanding what went on before he went off.
Yeah. Yeah, one of the nice things about this championship, of course, is that it's not an arrive and drive. There are lots of different teams operating the cars. So although everybody has the same base car, you've got the needle match, if you like, between the teams. And you've also got, of course, different pace of drivers and the different classes, with the AMs being recognised as well. So the race won't be restarted. And there, getting out of the car, is Gregor Yates. He's probably never had as easy a win. Yeah, well done, Gregor. He's not broken sweat.
Nope.
Riccardo Ianiello. He deserves the champagne out of those two, doesn't he?
Oh, very much so. But it's always a team effort, and I'm sure Yates had a part to play. Certainly yesterday, they had a very good run yesterday, and
yeah.
But yeah, absolutely great job. And well deserved. Again, I think rewarded also from his efforts yesterday. So it's great to see that.
Yeah, Gregor Yates, somebody else, in fairness, that's raced in Italian GT, but was in Porsches initially, sort of club-level Porsche racing. So the race has come to a close. We've got an AM winner confirmed. Basically, the Cedric Lima Julien Piguet car, the only one that finished, in fact, from that class. But the rest of the result is, I think, now pretty much confirmed. Gregor Yates and Riccardo Ianiello, the winners. This is the result. Race 2 at Monza, won by Gregor Yates and Riccardo Ianiello, from Edgar Pierre and James Higgins, with Ron Trenker and John Lancaster third and taking a class win. That's really bad luck for Eric Behrens and Alejandro Gapet, just because of when they pitted and then the race coming to an end. So they dropped back, never got a chance to retaliate in the queue. Will Aspin and Harry Burgoyne up to 5th, ahead of Josh Mason and Michael O'Brien. Alessandro Fabi 7th, with Patrick Schober, Max Torillian and Stephen Lake 8th, from Ollie Webb and Bill Fenech. And yesterday's winners 10th, Lucas Valcra and Lorenzo Montero. It's a result, but it doesn't really tell the story of the race in many senses, does it? Because if you pitted early, you had a chance to be able to fight back in the queue. But in the case of Alejandro Gapet pitting at the end of the window, we were virtually straight into that safety car, slow pace, and then the red flag. So some teams are going to feel a little bit, not shortchanged necessarily, but frustrated, but nothing that could be done about it. The incident necessitating that interruption to the race.
Yeah, it'd be lovely if we had a situation where we had a race to be continued, but and we could have had sort of the second part of the race played elsewhere. But that's not how it goes, is it? But
let's look forward. Where's the next stop for McLaren Trophy? Where do we go next? It's Spa, I think, isn't it? So
Spa on the 24-hour weekend. Yeah. That's right. So it's the biggest event in terms of supporting the 24-hour race. So looking forward to that. We're racing on a Saturday, obviously not on a Sunday. And, but yes, it's one to look forward to always.
and a good grid as well. What's nice to see is these championships with increased entry levels. When you get a sort of critical mass behind a championship, then it just continues to build, doesn't it? People want to be a part of something that's good. McLaren have worked hard to motivate teams and drivers and attract interest, and now we have it. Well, let's find out what the race winners think of all this, because Gregor Yates and Riccardo Ianiello are victorious here at Monza.
Let's start with yourself, because that was probably the easiest end to a race ever. Not the way you want to win a race, though.
Yeah, did not the perfect start. I tried to manage a lot with the push to pass, especially to overtook the second guy in second place, and I did it. And then I tried to take more gap as possible to do, and then to jump out and give the car to my mate, for sure.
You didn't get as long in the car as you'd hoped for, though, Gregor. It's nice to get a victory, but like we say, it's a tricky way to get one when a race is red flagged in this sort of way.
Yeah, I saw that the gap is not so big before the bit, but we made the bit, and I saw that the margin is big, huge, and after that, sadly, we had accidents, but yeah, sad for them, but for us, I think it's good. It's perfect.
You didn't need the cool vest after all. Well done, both of you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you.
Bryn Lucas talking to our race winners. Good job done for Greg Yates and Riccardo Ianiello, and illustrating the ethos of McLaren Trophy Europe. Yes, it caters for the AM, but there you've got two young guns wanting to make a career in GT racing, and there's a great platform because, again, Tommy, as you were saying yesterday, these aren't sort of detuned cars. These are proper race cars, a bit more power than GT4. Let's have a quick look at the highlights before we try and hear from more drivers. A great start to the second race at Monza for Alejandro Gapet, the former champion, leading the pack down towards the first of the chicanes. Everybody safely through as a battle developed between Alessio De Leda and Luca Magnussen. De Leda being tagged sideways, that did some damage to the Magnussen car, and then we had a battle on for third place. Eventually, Riccardo Ianiello making his way up past the car of James Higgins, and Hugo Bach also making progress aboard number 33, but that would be a car which would look rather different come the end of the race. Pit window opened after 18 minutes, people cycled through. We lost David Coelho with a spin coming through the Ascari chicane, but a significant incident at the parabolic up just straight through the gravel and through the Rectital barriers went this man, Will Martin. He was okay, but the car rather less so, and with barrier damage, then that was the end of race 2 with just under 12 minutes on the clock. The session not resumed. John Lancaster and Ron Trenker, winners in Pro-Am. A surprise result in a sense.
Well, John, as your teammate is still in the car, moving the car out of position, we thought we'd grab a chat with you. Pro-Am victory, it's bittersweet, but it's a victory.
I will take them as they come, you know. Over many years, you get things taken off you at different points, no fault of your own, so when they come your way, you got to accept. But yeah, it's just a show really for Ron. He's put so much work in over winter, you know. He's lost over 20 kilos. He's been really training hard, getting on the sim, getting on everything, and it's really shown this weekend with the third yesterday, win today. His pace has been properly on it. Like, he's really closed that gap up, so I think it's just we'll take that look, and he deserves it.
Well done. Well, just quickly, what's it like here in the heat? Give us an idea of what the actual experience is like behind the wheel. We imagine horrible, but you know.
It's not great now, and the AC broke this morning, so we haven't got anything in there. It's toasty, but you know, you got to go with it. It's you don't really feel it when you get out of the car, to be fair. But yeah, it's been a hot, sweaty weekend, but when it comes out with a win, we don't care.
Cool off with some champagne. Well done.
Sounds like a good idea. Cheers.
Yeah, John Lancaster makes a valid point, doesn't he? What goes around comes around. There's Harry Burgoyne Jr. Talking about his race. Well, there was a bit of that, and there was a bit of sideways, as you saw off the semaphore. Chatting there to Will Aspin. Harry, another driver that came from single-seater racing. I say the whole family have been involved in oval racing forever and a day, but through GB4 initially, Harry. And Will Aspin, somebody that we've seen racing in Carrera Cup as well in previous years.
Yeah, good to see John Lancaster there with a bit of silverware to take home. He's shown very good pace, you know, over the years, really, in the trophy, and so it's been very good to see him winning.
Let's hear from our
Well, congratulations to you both, Cedric. Well done to you. And Julien, let's get a word from you, because I know that the language barrier is always a bit of an issue, but congratulations on what was another decent result for you, first place in your class.
Yeah, thank you. Today it was harder than yesterday. They were totally crazy on the track, so I was very safe. didn't want to crash the Cedric's car, brand new. So I did a very safe stint, and after Cedric was very unlucky with a red flag 1 or 2 laps after.
Give us an idea of what it's like racing around this circuit, because we've enjoyed watching all the races so far this weekend. We've got more racing to come, but what is it like being at the Temple of Speed? What's the emotion like?
Hey, this is a Temple of Speed in Monza, so for sure the top speed is maybe the highest of the season. No, it was very exciting. Thank you, McLaren, for this first race, and maybe see you soon.
Yeah, first race meeting is done. Well done.
Yes, thank you. Bye-bye.
First time out in the championship as well for Julien Piquet. Very experienced driver. Cedric Lyman moving from Lamborghini Super Trofeo. Next stop then for McLaren Trophy Europe will be Spa at the end of the month. Join us there for more great racing from McLaren's, from Tommy Erdos and David Addison. Goodbye from Monza.